Welcome back to Gimme Five with Jones and Eli. Eli, best horror movie of all time.
Jones, I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion. I've seen some horror movies, obviously. Got some classics. The Shining has to be up there for me. Hereditary, very, very scary. But in general, Jones, I fucking hate horror movies with a passion. I think it's the worst genre. It's an excuse. It's not even really a good genre. There's nothing good about it. Why would I want to sit in front of a television screen for 2 hours and subject myself to just fear, to be scared? There's enough fear in the world, enough scary shit in the world. Why do I want to see and watch something fake that's going to make me even more scared? I don't get the point.
I mean, the line of logic, it's fun to be scared sometimes.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Why do people go to amusement parks, right? Why? I mean, like can't you say you're afraid enough times in your life? There's something about kind of taking on manufactured fear that just feels like fun and good and adventurous, and you're taking on the same kind of fear as other people. I think so often we're all dealing with different fears. You get to kind of unite your fear into one avenue, not to get too deep on you here. But with that being said, and dating back to the question, yeah, I mean, The Shining's great. Give me Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs might be the best horror movie of all time. So good. Clarice. It's so, oh my gosh. I mean, what are you cringing about?
I don't know if that's a horror movie, Jones.
Yes,
I don't know if that's a horror movie. To me, it's a thriller.
Stop yourself.
It's a thriller. There's a difference. There's a distinction, okay? Thrillers it's more emotionally scary and it's emotionally tense, and that I can understand watching. That to me is the equivalent of going on a super high roller coaster, because you don't know what's going to happen next. You're excited. You're scared a little bit too, but it's more exciting and you're more on the edge of your seat. I'm talking about horror movies, slashers, just jump scare films like that, where the whole point of the movie is just to terrify you and shock you with blood and guts and gore and all, or just scare the shit out of you for no reason. That's not a fun movie for me.
So then you're not answering, you're making your own question, which is par for the course for you at this point and in the podcast history. That is not what a horror movie is. Like, that is a type of horror movie, like a slasher or like a film that is centered around jump scares. But horror movies can be psychological. They're really, again, horror movies are not just like B slasher movies. Horror movies can be really well-made films. Again, Silence of the Lambs is an example of that. I would call Jaws. Jaws fits into that category. These classic films. The Shining, like you said, it's more psychological. It's not all jump scares, but a very good horror film.
I agree that it doesn't have to be all jump scares. You can have horror movies that are just about psychological. I mean, I talked about Hereditary. There's very few jump scares in that. But and you're right. I maybe I misspoke in that jump scares does not always equate to a horror movie. But I do think that Jaws is like, I don't think Jaws is a horror movie. I don't think Silence of the Lambs is a horror movie. I think that's so much more about solving this case and all this stuff like that, where it's not about just being scared. You're not as scared watching Silence of the Lambs as you are when you're watching something like, I don't know, Insidious.
Okay, well, Insidious is just a newer film than Silence of the Lambs. People weren't scared after watching Jaws. Nobody swam that summer, dude. Nobody swam in the oceans that summer because of that. So yeah. I don't want to hear that people were not scared by Jaws, all right? It's easy to look back in 2023 and say, you know, there are scarier movies now. Of course there are scarier movies now, just like there are better action movies now than there were back then. But I don't even understand the criteria you're going off of. It wasn't scary enough to be a horror movie, or it was too psychological to be a horror movie. Whichever way you're going about it, it doesn't work. And you've completely at this point swerved my original question. And all you've thrown out is like Hereditary. Oh,
I know the answer to your question is zero. I don't like any horror movies, really. And at the end of the day, that's another reason why I don't like Halloween, which, spoiler alert, I hate Halloween. You're going to hear that later this week. Horror movies suck. Being scared sucks. Why would I subject myself to unnecessary fear and nightmares and being scared? Why would I want that in my life, Jones? Why? Just like I don't want to listen to sad music. I don't want to just be unnecessarily, needlessly scared for no reason.
It's the same thing. You have a problem exposing yourself to sadness. You have a problem exposing yourself to fear. And I just love it. I just love it. Give me my Olivia Rodrigo album piled on top of my Conjuring viewing, and I can get out the cries and the scaries all in one day. It's perfect for me.
The Olivia Rodrigo is a totally separate thing, and I get that a lot more than I get the being a scared thing. I understand wanting to have emotion and feel those emotions. I don't understand wanting to just be terrified. I'm reading right now because while you were talking, I googled the definition of a horror movie. It says horror is a film genre that seeks to elicit fear or disgust in its audience. Why would I want to just be fearful or disgusted when watching a movie? It's entertainment. I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. Maybe I'll cry, but I don't want to scream when watching a movie.
Because again, I think it's natural human emotions that we feel all in different ways, and then you can channel them all together and kind of explore those emotions together. What an opportunity that it sounds like you're missing out on. This has been Give Me Five with Jones and Eli. A reminder to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for a chance to suggest our next pod topic. Eli, thanks for talking.
Always a pleasure, Jones. Talk to you soon.